Testing, testing. Let's hope all is well. I hope that the Patreons or the patrons get this message. I don't know. I hope that it is currently available. Let's make sure I post this here. All these things here. So, okay, this is the first patron stream, man. We're going to talk about, well, not just necessarily a patron stream. What I'm going to do with these streams is I don't know what that's about. I don't want to do that. What I will do with the patron streams, I don't know I didn't even think I hit that shit. But the patron streams, though, sorry about that. I'm trying to get things ordered. Make sure y'all get the message if y'all all are on Patreon. Again. All right, there we go. Let y'all know the live stream is up now. I got to make sure to get bored. But I don't know what time I'm going to do this consistently. It's about 4:30 right now, but I usually do Kush Dens, and I'm still trying to figure out how my status and what I'm going to do with the Kush Den exactly. So anyway, first and foremost, let's get into the intro, and then let's make this shit shake, man. Never miss another live stream again. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and click see all notifications. What's the motherfucking deal, Sauce Nation? I hope all of y'all are well, fine, and dandy. Hoping it's a good day for y'all. And again, like I said, with this being a patron stream, I only have a few patrons, but I want to make sure that I start doing this consistently. And so that way folks will know and how we're going to operate this. Again, I have to figure it out. But today I want to talk about the obvious bias in the media towards Houston teams. And we talk about this here and there, but I want to really spend some time on, I really want to talk about a couple of things that bother me. Okay. All you got to do is look, and it's obvious. It's obvious. Let's talk about Rudy T not making a Hall of Fame. Okay. Player, coach, man's got multiple rings. And even as a coach, maybe not as a player, but as a coach at the very least, Rudy T should be in the mix. Rudy T should be in a conversation. But again, they're not going to have that. Why is that? Oh, because he won championships in Houston. Those aren't relevant. The only reason those even happened is because, because Jordan didn't play. If it wasn't for Jordan, retiring, then, the Bulls would have swept it all. It's the stupid shit that people say when Jordan couldn't, people give Jordan this just obvious, of course people appreciate what he did. He changed the game up. But again, you had guys like Iverson changed the game. You have guys like Harden who have changed the game. Steph Curry in his own right changed the game. LeBron James changed the game. Everybody, there's been lots of guys who've come along in their own aspects, changed the game. But if people want to celebrate Michael Jordan because he was put on a proper team with the proper pieces, stacked ass team. It wasn't just Jordan, it was a stacked ass team. We don't look at it like that nowadays because it's Jordan, the legacy of Jordan, and we like his shoes. James Harden, MVP candidate. But for some reason, this entire year, I've never heard such a thing. I've never heard I guess you got to have a story. I guess you got to have competitors. You want to make it a narrative. But when one guy is just consistently so good, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to put his name in the conversation with these other guys who, just because they have a hot week or a couple of weeks where they're playing a few good games, the next thing you know, here's Anthony Davis. He has 4 or 5 good games after Boogie goes. I'm not saying that he didn't play well. Anthony Davis has carried the Pelicans on his back. But after Boogie goes down, after James has been doing this all season, then people start get put in a conversation. Once, they do a little this or they do a little that, but not on nearly the level of consistency that, not nearly the level of consistency, you know what I mean, Okay, I'll get on that. Somebody replied to that. I don't know if the link is available. I'm going to try to make sure that everybody is accessible, and I hope that the patrons are able to come through. I see people saying, they, I don't know if let me see if the link or whatever has to be resent or anything like that. But, what James Harden done is historic. It's greatness. It's amazing. He's been doing it consistently. But again, no love, people find ways to try to take this from him. They find ways to try to take that from him. They try to see, now why would he give me that initially? That's what I needed initially. I'm sorry to put up another post. But let me see. Oh shit. Okay, cut that out. Yeah, pardon me, because like I said, I'm trying to make sure the patrons get this. And the link is here. Okay. There we go. Let's publish that now. Not public. Patrons only. I'm going to do all that. Okay, so sorry about that. I apologize for anybody who may have gotten and let me see. Patreon page. All right, so sorry about that. Okay, now that we got things back in order, y'all have to forgive me for just a moment. I kind of stagnated straight away from y'all for just a bit. Again, I just want to make sure people are able to get the link that they need so they can get to it as they see fit. People who are supporting this channel, and like I said, this is not to take away from the super chats, it's not to take away from the donations, but people were showing love on a monthly basis. I got to make sure that the Patreon team gets some love. So there we go, got that fixed. So my thing, again, it's like I say, anywhere else, what James Harden is doing is historic. But you have people from every possible lane trying to detract from what he did. They look for every other fucking narrative that they could find. They look for every other storyline that they could possibly find to take away from what James Harden has done. Now, something I found out that I did not know. About 20% of the people who get to vote for the Hall of Fame work at ESPN. Okay. And we kind of mentioned, I touched on this, I think, a little bit last night or the other stream. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I did or didn't. But when ESPN controls the narrative, you don't think that their employees are influenced by what's going on? Because again, see, ESPN only covers the big ones, the LAs, the New Yorks, the teams, of course, Golden State, because they're hot right now, LeBron, wherever he's at. But when you got a guy who's doing something, you have a team who's doing something better than any of these other teams, better than any of these other players, they don't get the respect. They don't get the love. Oh, Houston, there's no way they can't do it. It's not going to happen. When they do talk about him, if they do talk about him, and the only time that they make reference to him is to have Houston has just been a storyline to Golden State's narrative. That's basically how the media has played it. Not giving us our own respect, not giving us the respect of the number one team in the league. I've never seen such disrespect. The only thing I've ever seen maybe more disrespectful with reason was the Celtics led by IT3 last year. But again, you had to go up against LeBron, and LeBron, they were going to beat them. It was just going to be a better team, But we're talking about the Rockets, who are historic, stacked, MVP. You know what I'm saying? A team. I mean, shit, a deep team. Probably the deepest, in my opinion, deepest team in the league. Have been overly consistent. One of the better defending teams, one of the better scoring teams, if not the best in the league this year. And I think towards the end, it dipped down a little bit. The production towards the end was a little shitty. But again, best record in the league, all these things. Nobody talks about that. I asked last night, when we were talking about the Astros, I'll tell y'all, I'm not big on baseball. I want to, get my baseball knowledge up. I'm watching here and there, and I need to keep up with the games. Early on, I have not been keeping up with the games, Rockets playoffs, and I've been focusing on some other shit, trying to get some things going for the studio, for the flavor. But again, I asked, and I'm still waiting for somebody if they can confirm this, if they saw it. But I remember the year before, Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, won the World Series. Because I remember seeing this on TV, seeing a big deal about, it's been 100 years or something. And the whole city of Chicago was out, the Cubs or whatever. It was a big old deal. The ESPN, they showed how many people were out. They were filming and they were recording, and they showed all the shit on TV. They made a big special event out of it. Now, I know the local stations probably did down here. And maybe I need to do some research. Matter of fact, I'm going to write that down. But again, like I said, I know some of you guys are much more adept, and y'all pay a lot more attention. I don't really watch the talking heads. If I do, I'll catch a clip on YouTube because it's hard for me to watch this show. I hate the Michelle Beadle, Jalen Rose, Mike show. That show is probably the worst show on fucking ESPN. I heard they paid her $15 million for that shit. That's awful. That's awful. But again, did ESPN show the Astros World Series parade? Did they make a big deal about it as they did? And ignore the ticker at the bottom. I didn't change that. It's just been it's been talking from yesterday. So pardon me. I fuck up. I forget to change things. Trying to be a one-man wrecking crew over here. Sometimes you overlook the details, and that just happened to be one of them. So pardon me for that. I'm just now seeing that. But again, I ask, did ESPN make a big hype over Houston, winning the World Series? Did they show the parade? Did they show all these things? Did they make a big fluff about it? I don't know. I have yet to see it confirmed. Maybe more people were at the parade than watching on TV, so I don't know. But again, I'll do the research and I'll have to find out. But I know for a fact they made a huge deal about Chicago. And people say, well, Honcho, Houston just doesn't have the sports history. Okay, what does that mean? We got a couple of championships in basketball. We got us one now with the Astros. We've been to a World Series. It's not like we haven't ever been close. I'm sure, consistency is one thing. But then again, the media is not consistent because, again, look at the Astros. They just won it all. Just won everything. The big bag. All right, brought the bag home, gave out 1,300 rings. Shout out to Hector Flores. Shined a light on the city when the only thing people wanted to talk about Houston was negative. Deshaun Watson going down in the hurricane. That's when they want to start talking. They were talking about Watson. They showed a little bit of love. They showed Watson love because of what he was doing. But again, coming off a national championship and things like that. But the city of Houston, sports-wise, doesn't get recognition, will not get recognition, will forever be dismissed if the Rockets don't win it all this year. People will talk, I knew it. And now they're the same motherfuckers who jumping back and forth and all these other things. And the motherfucking dick riders who said we can't win, we will win it all. Like, I'm not worried about the Rockets at all. Like, they're going to win it all as long as we stay healthy. Muthaf's already out. He's a key necessity. So hopefully, he can get back soon. Hopefully Anderson comes in with some confidence and, can hit the long ball. But I don't know if it bothers me or I don't really care. I'm kind of in a little bit of both because I guess at this point I have become some form of media. I do this every day for the most part in some form or fashion, even if I may not stream that day if the news ain't real big. Even sometimes the news ain't shit, I still do my best to try to come daily with it. But it just has to be a real dead day, and I just don't want to sit and repeat everything I said the day before, with little to no new information, little to no new input. So I don't want to do that. That's not the route that I want to go with this. But I guess I've become media. I'm not national media, I guess you would say. I don't even know if I'm necessarily local media. I talk locally, but I'm not in that play. I guess I'm local media, small local media. Support your independent sports media. Shout out to the patrons. That's why you're seeing this stream first, even though I don't think anybody's in here. But after we release this, what I'll do is I'll make this public for everybody after this stream. And that's just kind of how it's going to work. So the Patreons will get it first, and then everybody else will get it later. I don't know if I'm gonna start doing it, maybe releasing it after the main sauce stream, or maybe a little bit before the main sauce stream, maybe a few minutes beforehand. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. We'll see exactly what's what. But if you're seeing this and you're wondering, I mean, shit, even if it's just as much as $1 on Patreon, you know, make sure you support the channel, patreon.com/saucesports, and you will have access to the midday streams. I just got to figure out the proper timing, you know, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe around this time. I got to figure out how I'm going to operate the Kush Den. Everything is going to be, I got to get scheduled and timed properly, and we'll make it all fit. But again, we're talking about the national media and why they hate Houston. I'm local media. That's why I love Houston. Even the local media that we have here in the house is very doubtful. You know, when we're winning, when we're balling, of course, you hear everybody with it. But when we're not winning, when we're not on top of things, when we're not doing that, even the locals don't want to talk about, that's a BET. Bet that. I appreciate it. I appreciate that in the chat already. Cool. I wasn't for sure. Like I say, you know, if it was going through properly or not. So I'm glad to know that. I appreciate that. It just makes you wonder, man. Like, what has to be done? But do we really want the praise of the national media? You know, when you have something that's yours and it's special, you cherish it. Not many people know about it. You appreciate it more. But when it's something that everybody becomes a part of, and anybody and everybody jumps on the bandwagon, you not saying that you lose appreciation for the thing that you cherish, but you start to have disdain with the people who support your cause or whatever it may be. Like, if the Rockets win it all, I'd be extremely mad to see a motherfucker from Houston who may have been wearing a Golden State jersey a couple of months ago, which is a lot of y'all. And if y'all motherfuckers know who the fuck y'all are, don't say, oh, it's fashionable. I just like Steph Curry. Get the fuck out. The fuck all the way out. But you see him now wearing a Chris Paul or a James Harden jersey or something after the Rockets win. I would take extreme displeasure in seeing that person representing the same shit that I represent. If I've been holding down, that's why I'm saying that's like even with the Astros, because that's why I'm very cautious about how I handle it. I'm not adept. I don't want to appear on the bandwagon train. We know they're balling. That's why I don't necessarily talk, oh yeah, Astros, man, and just go crazy about it, because I don't have that ability. I don't know much of shit. I know what I see and still dig an understanding. I think, I need a couple of seasons under my belt before I can sit here and say, oh yeah, this, that, and the third about them confidently. That's just how it's going to be. I don't think one season is adequate enough to just say, oh yeah, I've been down, and like I said, I wish them the best. I hope they, do it again, and I will be covering them as I get better at it. And give me a proper Astros correspondent who, like schedules get fucked up and things like that, but we'll make it all shake. But again, I feel like it's a violation, because you have some people who aren't committed to shit. They'll hop on whatever team is hot. You have people who do that. Fuck, we seen Snoop in a Rockets jersey the other day. What kind of shit is that? Like, what kind of shit is that? Have you ever seen Snoop rep anything, Houston? You know what I mean? If I'm wrong, let me know that I'm wrong, but I've never seen such a thing. And so you can start to see some of the bandwagoners coming, because Snoop is a Lakers fan, if I'm not mistaken, right? I don't know if y'all know or not, but I'm pretty sure he's a Lakers fan. But wearing a Rockets jersey, I mean, this goes against everything that Snoop Dogg stands for. He's a Crip. He's rocking a red jersey, and he's repping Houston, and not the Lakers or whoever the fuck he is. He's from California. You would think he would jump to Golden State, like a lot of fans here do. And this is why I don't. Like, I sit here and I tell y'all, I respect San Antonio, but I hate San Antonio. You can hate a motherfucker and respect them at the same time. It's a lot of motherfuckers that you probably don't like, but you ain't go do shit. You go respect that motherfucker. That now, some of y'all don't know. It depends on the situation. But San Antonio, what a lot of people in Houston like to do is, oh well, the Rockets didn't make it, so I'm going to root for San Antonio. I wish the fuck I would. I wish the fuck I would do such a thing. I really do wish I would do such a thing, because what you have is it's I don't want to say it's not hood hopping. It's not the equivalent of being fraudulent, but it's bandwagoning. Like, when my team is out, I don't root for anybody. If a Houston team is not in the situation, it could be the NCAA, it could be the fucking the NBA, it could be MLB, anything. If it's not a Houston or a Houston area team, college, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't have to watch something just because it's on. Super Bowl. I don't have to watch the Super Bowl just because it's on. I'm actually surprised I watched as much as I did this year. Because, again, the only reason actually I did watch this year is because of the sauce. And I mean, it's just an event. It's a sporting event to really fuck with y'all. But in reality, I don't give a fuck about the Super Bowl every time Houston ain't there. I don't always watch the fucking Super Bowl. I don't. This is about, to me, maybe I look at things differently. It's not about the sports. It's about the city. And I hate the fact that the city of Houston gets disrespected, especially by shitty places like Dallas, you know. I mean, yeah, I was saying about the San Antonio thing, but about, you know, bandwagoning because the team is still in there. And about Snoop, you would think that he would have jumped to Golden State, still represent a Cali team. But he went all the way across country. He changed regions. It went from the West, y'all, to the motherfucking dirty South, like he trying to get back with no limit and shit. But all I'm saying is this, man. All I'm saying is that represent for your city. You know, I know a lot of people who fuck with the sauce, who fuck with the flavor, they may not be from Houston. And it's understandable why, you know, certain people rep for whatever team they are. You know, rep for your city, too. I'm not saying because you're not from Houston, you ain't got to rep for the city if you ain't never been here. You don't know nothing about it. But if you fuck with the team, that's cool. And I guess at this point, if you're a Texans fan at this point, I don't know if you call you bandwagon because all the bad shit. Like, if you're a new Texans fan within the last year, you're either like from Clemson or in that area been following Deshaun Watson, or you just like new to football. So I'm like, I have no problem with nothing like that. But if you've just been a football fan for a long time and have represented some particular team, and then just because the scenario elsewhere looks a little bit more favorable, you jump ship and go to that, I look at you as a bandwagoner. That's why it's hard for me, even with all the shit, you know, people talking with the McNair shit and just things behind that. It makes it tough being a Texas fan, but I'm not going to change my allegiance. My allegiance isn't to Bob McNair. I don't give a fuck about him. You know, I fuck with the logo, that team, what it represents, you know, the city. Again, if owners change, I wouldn't cry about Bob. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be more than happy, actually. You know, names come and go in those jerseys. Do I get upset about that? Certain ones, yeah, because you grow and to have an affinity for certain players and you want to see them do well. You want to see them represent because they have the skills, the talents, the abilities to make that logo look real good. And so, yeah, I love my Texans, love my Rockets, you know, bringing in guys, bringing in talent, you know, talent that wouldn't mesh that everybody said. Oh, those are just little low-key pickups that aren't going to do anything for them, you know. They might be lucky if they win 50 games, you know. They talked about us. They basically, this is what happened in the national media, but we've been saying the same thing in the sauce since day one, even when I wasn't happy about the Chris Paul trade initially, because I said I feel like it was legitimized if a third person came, but then when, you know, you pick up P.J. Tucker, you bring in Muthaf and guys like that, it's a difference. Because here's what kills me too about that is that, you know, I know my thoughts change here and there. You got the mind of a honcho. It's a million miles a minute, but because you got a lot of people saying, oh, this is a Houston team, you know, from last year. We saw what happens when Houston gets in the playoffs. We saw what happens when Chris Paul gets into the playoffs. And okay, cool, you know, okay, whatever. This ain't the same Houston team as it was last year or the year before. You know, you're talking about an NBA roster has what, about 15 guys, 15 to 17, something like that. I want to say 15 guys. Well, over a third of those guys have been changed out. You're talking about 6 new players have come to the fucking Rockets in that time. So if you feel like a third of your team can get swapped out, I mean, you look at any other sport and you swap out a third of your team and you tell me it's the same, it's going to be the same skill set, it's going to be the same caliber. It may get worse, it may get better, but it's not going to be the same. You have so many people sitting here saying, oh, you know, we saw what these Rockets did last. This ain't the Rockets from last year. There's no Pat Beverly here. We have other offensive weapons and threats now. Now, a couple of the names remain the same, but for the most part, you look at some of these pieces that have come in and immediately had an impact and definitely been contributors, you know. I'm sitting there thinking about that Brandon Wright situation, how that didn't work. Motherfuckers was excited about. Motherfuckers was more excited about Brendan Wright than they were about Joe Johnson because he could, you know, he had some athleticism. That motherfucker played not even a whole one game. That motherfucker was in and out like the fucking shitty burgers in Cali. Whataburger for life. So all I'm saying is this, man. I don't know what it is about the city. You know, people say, hey, y'all ain't put in enough work. Y'all ain't got the championship. We got more championships than some. We've had, you know, even if they've been historic, maybe it's been a while. Y'all must have forgot like the Roy Jones shit. But again, you know, for the people who don't rep, for the people who don't got love, you know, this is why the sauce is here. I put out something earlier. I'm going to talk about this for just a second before I get up out of here. And if you made it this far, fucking with the flavor. If you're watching the video later after it's released, or if you're watching it live, I appreciate you. I commend you. I appreciate you for fucking with the sauce and the flavor. But I put out there, basically, because I truly honestly feel like we are the best sports conversation in the city. If I didn't feel that way, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I tweeted out some things, and I got one negative response. Okay, and the motherfucker says that, he's fucked with the flavor. He came over here a couple times. I tried to fuck with it, but, I can't. But if you change some of these things, I'll be back. I hope you watch this. I hope you see it later. And if not, I hope somebody spreads the word. I don't care if you come back or not. Because this complaint was not the quality of the content. Not the content. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I don't like the round table because, the sound was just too much going on. I can understand that. That's not what the fuck I said. I'm not a fucking multi-million-dollar operation. I don't have researchers. I don't have, people doing every odd and end little job. Pretty much, other than this background here, shout out to White Persuasion for that. That's dope. And the Rockets one. I attempt to put a lot of this stuff together myself. Most of the shit is shit prior to me fucking with this shit I've never done before. And it's a lot of this shit is new to me. So I'm learning on the fly, learning as we go. I like what I got. I like the fact, and I have to agree. It's a fact. It's almost 3,100 other motherfuckers who fucking with it. So if you think that I'm concerned about one person upset about the production quality, I don't give a fuck about this. I got a webcam and a fucking little home setup. And you're complaining about the production quality, then go listen to that boring ass shit on 610. Go listen to the bullshit they're going to give you on 790. Go listen to what ESPN 97.5 is probably the worst out of all of them. Again, we don't need you in this new wave. We don't need you in this new flavor. If you don't like what you see, man, I'm not begging you for shit. I ain't begging nobody to do anything. Okay? If you fuck with the shit, I encourage you to keep fucking with it. That's all I can do. Because what's going to happen is here eventually. The content is king. The quality can get better, you can make more money. You can buy better equipment. Eventually, like I have a plan to, relocate and put it into a certain situation so we don't have to deal with some of the outside shit that goes on in here. But that's all fixable shit. That just comes with time and wanting to invest in that type of shit. But you can't beat the content, the quality, the discussion, the interaction that you'll get in Saw Sports. I challenge anybody on that. You could bring me any other sports network in Houston, anybody else talking Houston sports, anything like that. I challenge anybody on that to prove to me that they have more interactivity with the fans, to have more entertaining, enjoyable conversation. Let you contribute as a fan, call in, text into the Sauce line, participate, live as we're chatting. We interact with y'all as y'all are in the chat. Because again, I tell y'all, the Sauce is you guys. You guys are the fresh flavor. It's not about me. It's not about the round table. It's not about any of those things. It's about y'all. And that's why I say fuck the national media. That's why I don't give a fuck about Houston media. I plan on taking this shit over. Like originally it was just, me talking and spilling my mind. But I started looking at things. I started seeing things. And with the right force behind this shit can go as far as it needs to go to put on for this city. So all I say is thank you for all the Patreon support. Thank you to all the super chatters if you catch this late. Thank you to all the people who donate. Because I don't want you to think that these things are in vain. Because, I've had some issues I've had to take care of and other things to end up. But as things are getting in order, I'm trying to find ways that I can full-time the flavor. So I'm making some sacrifices here. I'm taking some L's in some other places because in reality, I believe in this thing. I believe in y'all. I believe in the support that y'all send me. Man, if y'all just the messages that I get on a daily from people who fuck with the flavor, man, I just want to say thank y'all. But I'm motivated to keep pushing this thing to be the media, the representation that the city needs. The guy that's not afraid, or the network that's not afraid to take these teams to task, because we're not going to sit here and just accept mediocrity. We're tired of fucking mediocrity. And, the other networks, again, like they're sponsored and they're this, that, and they're certain shit they can't say. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is the people. And this is why I say it's brought by the people, it's funded by the people, it's supported by the people. This is for y'all, man. And I appreciate the support that y'all give. And so I know I went on a little tangent, a little slight hit. I really didn't go in like I wanted to because, again, the guy's not that important. He's like, well, if you change it, I'll be back. I don't give a fuck you're going to be back or not. Like, not in the slight. Like, if you don't like what I do, don't fuck with it, man. Like, if I don't like something, I don't fuck with it. Period, point blank. And so I encourage other people to do the same. If it's something you don't like, don't say, well, you need to change this, this, and this, so that I don't give a fuck about you like that. Like, honestly, like, I appreciate the love, I appreciate the support, but if you come in there, like, I'll take constructive criticism. And everybody knows that I always encourage constructive criticism. But if you're just saying some stupid, well, you spend a little bit more money on this, well, hey, if you want me to spend more money on that shit, man, hey, send the fucking money, and I'll spend that fucking money on anything you fucking want me to. But as far as doing a bunch of outrageous shit to put myself under just to make it a little bit more visually pleasing to you, a little bit more, what is it? A little bit more savory for your auditory senses. You know, I don't give a shit about that. If you can't deal with a little cackle here, a little noise, a little side noise here, then hey, it is what it is, man. I hope you don't go out to sports bars and drink and watch games. I hope you don't go to live games and enjoy them, because there's a little bit of noise there. But, man, with that being said, I want to just say thank you for the Patreon supporters. And again, we'll get this adjusted. Just start sticking to the Patreon page to kind of find out. I'll make sure to post these things early. I'm going to start trying to do them in the middays. Like I say, without me working a 9 to 5, you know, it's like I said, I'm on the grind all the time, so my schedule can be a little fucked up and inconsistent. So make sure you guys stay on top of that with the Patreon. I'll make sure to tweet things out, so make sure you guys are following on Sauce Sports HTX on Instagram and Twitter. You know, again, patreon.com/Sauce Sports. And I'll be sure to put out the notifications. I'll be sure to put out the information you guys need to make sure you stay on top of the flavor. But again, with that being said, man, Sauce Nation, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Every single one of y'all. Even if you catching this late and you ain't a part of the live flavor, you know, we're still doing the live every night. Even if you ain't on Patreon supporter, that'll never change. But I need to start doing special things for the people who are supporting me consistently. And like I say, this is not to dismiss super chats or anything like that, because I know a lot of y'all come out of pocket nicely for the super chats or donating through Streamlabs or whatever it may be, and I appreciate those things. So we're going to find a way to show that love back too. But, you know, the easiest way to handle this is through Patreon, so I can make sure you guys get the private post that you deserve and the attention that you deserve for supporting this flavor. But again, with that being said, Sauce Nation, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Again, I'm chunking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy. It's your boy and Honcho. I appreciate y'all. Each and every single person who stays through, watches this video, just let you know I thank you sincerely for your time, because I know how valuable it is. Noose up. I'm out.